honoured to now give the floor to His Excellency, the United Nations Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres.
We are rapidly reaching the point of no return for the planet. We face a triple environmental emergency: biodiversity loss, climate disruption, and escalating pollution. For too long, humanity has cut down the Earth's forests, polluted its rivers and oceans, and ploughed its grasslands into oblivion. We are ravaging the very ecosystems that underpin our societies. And in doing so, we risk depriving ourselves of the food, water, and resources we need to survive. The degradation of the natural world is already undermining the well-being of 3.2 billion people, or 40% of humanity. Luckily, the Earth is resilient, but she needs our help. We still have time to reverse the damage we have done. That is why, on this World Environment Day, we are launching the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration.
10 years.
10 years.
Starting now.
We will rebuild what has been lost.
We will return life to scarred ecosystems.
We will make the difference.
With over 1,400 member organizations.
From more than 160 countries.
With 17,000 volunteer experts.
And thousands more voices.
This decade.
From every corner of the earth.
We will restore
our forests,
our oceans,
our wetlands,
our drylands,
our farms,
our mangroves.
In Africa.
In Europe.
In Asia.
In the Americas.
In Oceania.
We will build on our success.
Learn from our past. And track our progress.
Together.
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 Nous allons restaurer.
Nosotros restauraremos.
Together.
We will
rebuild wildlife habitats.
We will protect our oceans, forests, and soils.
Fuel economies.
And confront the changing climate.
We will restore the planet and our relationship with it together.
Restoration is ultimately a question of faith. Do we all believe that a better future is possible? I am extremely honoured to now introduce a message by His Holiness Pope Francis.
I have the honour to read the message which the Holy Father addressed on 27th May last to Her Excellency Mrs. Inger Andersen, United Nations Environment Programme Executive Director, and to His Excellency Mr. Ku Dongju, Food and Agriculture Organization Director General, for the launch of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Your Excellencies, this decade invites us to make 10-year commitments aimed at caring for our common home by supporting and scaling up efforts to prevent, halt and reverse the degradation of ecosystems worldwide, and raise awareness of the importance of successful ecosystem restoration.
Of Al-Azhar Mosque, His Eminence Ahmed Al-Tayeb.
أيها الحفل الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وبعد. أردت أن أسمعكم صوت الدين في هذه الأزمة، أو إن شئتم في هذه الكارثة التي لو ترك أمرها للعابثين بنعم الله على أرضه وفضائه فإن أحدا لن ينجو من آثارها المدمرة، لا في الغرب ولا في الشرق، على أن علاقة الإنسان بالكون في فلسفة الأديان الإلهية هي علاقة حب متبادل، وأن الإنسان كائن أرضي خلقا ونشأة، ثم عودة إلى هذه الأرض في نهاية رحلته على ظهره.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, nature is angry, and we fool ourselves if we think we can fool nature, because nature always strikes back, and around the world, nature is striking back with fury. Consider the last few months. July, the hottest months ever. June through August, the hottest summer in the Northern Hemisphere ever, and the second hottest winter in the Southern Hemisphere ever. The years 2015 to 2019, the 5 hottest year on the books ever. Our warming Earth is issuing a chilling cry: stop. If we don't urgently change our ways of life, you jeopardize life itself. Look around. Seas are rising and oceans are acidifying. Glaciers are melting and corals are bleaching. Droughts are spreading and wildfires are burning. Deserts are expanding and access to water is dwindling. Heat waves are scorching and natural disasters are multiplying. Storms everywhere are more intense, more frequent, more deadly. I've seen it with my own eyes, from Dominica to the Sahel to the South Pacific. In May, I went to the island nation of Tuvalu, where I witnessed an entire country fighting for its very existence against the rising seas. 2 months ago, I visited Mozambique, which was pummeled by unprecedented back-to-back cyclones. A few days ago, I was in the Bahamas, where Hurricane Dorian pounded the country for 2 unrelenting days. The destruction was not simply appalling, it was apocalyptic. Make no mistake, when we see those images, we are not just seeing damage, we are seeing the future if we do not act now. Dear friends,
well, Sir David talked there about the wildfires that have devastated parts of Australia. Hundreds are still burning, mainly across the southeast of the country, where the authorities are desperately trying to prevent them from spreading further. There are at least 8 weeks of the bushfire season still ahead. Clive Myrie joined one fire crew in New South Wales.
The fires eating this land have burnt from the mountains to the sea. In between, eucalyptus, bottlebrush and pine. It's hard, but save the forest and you save Australia.
Man is having a terrible time trying to stop what Mother Nature is doing to us. But this would definitely be the worst fire season that I've seen and most of my colleagues would have ever seen. You see how the wind really, influences what the fire's doing.
Zeb is charged with protecting 2.5 million acres of forest in the state of New South Wales. Several villages and towns are just a few miles away, right in the path of oncoming flames.
It wouldn't be that active if it wasn't so windy.
Zeb's team has already cleared some scrub, taking away fuel for the fire. But wisps of smoke are creeping through, like water under a door. How long before the main fire front appears? It's been a long bushfire season for Zeb and his crew.
4:36 in the afternoon and we can't see anything.
Days bizarre when smoke blocked out the light of the sun. And frightening days when people died. But time's running out to stop the latest blaze spreading. More of the forest needs to be cleared to create a big enough fire break.
It's a real shame to have to do this, but these fires this season are not behaving normally, and if we don't start putting these breaks in to stop it, more fires are just going to burn.
And nearby, back burning, Zeb's team deliberately ignites part of the forest, destroying fuel for the oncoming monster.
Well, this fire was lit just, a couple of minutes ago, and you can see how it has taken hold, blown by these really strong winds. And these are the conditions that the authorities have been having to deal with during this appalling bushfire season.
Night and day, fires are being deliberately lit by emergency crews. This, the neighbouring state of Victoria. But are the latest attempts to hold back the fire front working?
So that's about the last of it, isn't it, mate? Yeah? It's all lit up now. Good job. Doesn't take much, does it? Well done. That's got that contained anyway.
Zeb and his team have won this battle, but is Australia winning the war?
So we're having a go and we're steering them, and at times we can have small wins. We bite off small pieces. So we're not winning, but we're not losing either.
Clive Myrie, BBC News in Southeast Australia.
We begin with that breaking news. A state of emergency in California as deadly fires explode across the state. President Trump ordering federal assistance to help with the disaster.
Here's what we know right now. At least 9 people are confirmed dead in Northern California, where fast-moving flames wiped out an entire town. More than 6,000 homes have been destroyed there. The fire, now called the most destructive wildfire in the history of California. In Southern California, 2 major fires forcing the mandatory evacuations of more than 200,000 people, including the entire city of Malibu.
We have team coverage on the ground. Let's begin with ABC's senior meteorologist Rob Marciano in Malibu and the weather conditions fueling those flames. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Eva. The weather conditions are not good, as you very well know. Malibu, a beautiful spot, one of the most beautiful in the country, but now it is up in flames. We are at the Pepperdine University campus overlooking the Pacific Ocean. You can see behind me flames just to the west and north of this campus, which has not been evacuated. Over 3,000 students and faculty remain on this campus, so there is a furious effort to knock out the flames. They're actually using a fire hydrant on the center of this lawn to fuel up these choppers, and they're coming in one after the other to make night drops, something they don't usually do, but it tells you just how urgent this situation has become. The Woolsey fire now, over 30,000 acres burned. For more on that, let's get to Matt Gutman, who's live for us this morning. Good morning, Matt.
And Rob, those firefighters are so stretched, they can't even get to fires like this. This is a multi-million-dollar home south of Calabasas, where we are right now. In fact, this entire neighborhood has been obliterated. All the mountains around here are scorched and not a firefighter in sight. That's how stretched they are across Southern California this morning. I want you to just take a quick look at this house. That's actually the main part of this home. There's a tennis court over there, and this is just the garage. This is all that's left to burn in this particular home here.
Overnight, those fires ousting hundreds of thousands of residents from their homes.
Report of 3 people trapped in a house.
People trapped in cars. There might be some injuries.
A line of fires in Southern California turning homes to cinders, racing across the landscape faster than firefighters can contain them. Residents like Rebecca Hackett desperate to outrun the flames, filming on Instagram as embers pelted her car.
Please, God, please let me out.
I was really scared earlier. I was in shock. I definitely thought I was going to die. I thought I'm not going to make it out, but I just kept driving because I didn't know what else to do.
Earlier, officials ordering residents to evacuate in advance of the fires.
Mandatory evacuation of this area.
So much chaos that Pepperdine University apparently given mixed messages, leaving 3,500 students in the fire zone.
Just went back to our room to get some blankets.
All of them are okay this morning, but the aftermath here is apocalyptic. The Woolsey and Hill fires have grown to 40,000 acres in Ventura and Los Angeles counties.
I'm fairly certain it's gone. We stayed long enough to see the flames almost encircle the house.
Chaos. Fire engines everywhere. The houses near me were burning. Embers were flowing all across my house.
Fires forcing evacuations of star-studded neighborhoods like Malibu and Calabasas, with many celebrities posting to their social media accounts with their status, like Caitlyn Jenner on Instagram Friday, posting to her 9 million followers after news that her Malibu home likely burned down.
Continuous tidal waves in Dansum and Gbegbeise in the Ablekuma West Municipality of the Greater Accra region has forced some of the residents to relocate. In the following report, my colleague Rosemary Anyingba assesses the impact of the tidal waves on residents.
Sea level rise,
is a growing worry in West Africa, and in Ghana, many have already been forced to abandon homes and livelihoods. Dansoman Begbeise is a suburb of Accra and prone to tidal wave attacks. The once beautiful beachside, which serve as homes for people and source of livelihoods for fisher folks, has now become life-threatening. The seawall defense project, which started in the year 2012, has been abandoned. Despite government's promise to have the seawall completed for residents, the project is yet to kickstart. Several meters of the land that was already a playground, landing site for fisher folks, shops and homes along the sea have been submerged by seawater. Residents are compelled to walk on stones with care or risk falling down. Mohamed Kote, a landlord, narrates how the community used to go about their daily lives without any fear.
It's been 36 years now. Initially, we were not affected by the waves. However, the situation changed over the years, making much part of the shoreline to be eroded by the tidal waves. We constantly live in fear as a result.
Kote further described how he saved the lives of his tenants and the number of houses he has lost as a result of the tidal waves.
I have lost 10 apartments to the tidal waves, which has been a terrible experience. On the fateful day, I woke up all my tenants to escape to a safe point when it became apparent my apartments were being hit by the strong waves. That timely intervention averted possible deaths as the buildings collapsed soon after the occupant vacated.
Nilante, a fisher folk, tells me the strong impact the abandoned sea project is likely